High School All-America game from Pauley Pavilion on the campus of UCLA in Los Angeles. Welcome to this game. Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Tucker. We have the 25 cream of the crop of high school basketball here, selected by committees from across the country. And joining me here tonight, Bucky Waters, a former coach. How would you look at players like this as a coach?
Well, the hard part about coaching a game like this, Jim, is that you forget to coach. You get so excited watching these kids play, you forget to put people in. But they are going to have a format tonight, which we'll explain later, that will take some of that pressure off a coach.
Additional honor for two young men here because they've been selected to attend the USA Olympic tryout team.
Well, Danny Manning at 6'11" from Lawrence, Kansas is one of those, and he's probably the premier high school player this year. At 6'11", he really is a point guard locked in a huge body, can legitimately play all four positions. The only one that stretches is second guard.
And, of course, we're talking about Delray Brooks from Michigan City, Indiana, headed for the Hoosiers of Bob Knight. And Brooks, generally regarded maybe as the top guard in the country.
Well, certainly the top defensive guard at 6'4" with a 37-inch sleeve. He's won a place in Bobby Knight's heart. He's gone to Indiana and will again have a chance to try out for our Olympic team. And I think it's marvelous that those two high school kids got a shot.
Both those are playing for the West in this game. For the East, we might mention at least one player, and he's a mountain of a man, Chris Washburn.
Yeah, don't forget to mention him. He is a mountain disguised as a high school player. 6'11", 245, shot 77% his junior and senior year in high school. But when you make 9 dunks in one game, that does help your percentage. You can relate to 9 dunks in one game.
I've seen them. That's about all. But he's going to North Carolina State to play for Jim Valvano. Bucky, what do you try to do in an all-star game?
Well, with these kids, try to get out of the way, try to get them to give up the ball and play very good defense, and I think we'll see that.
We'll be back in just a moment.
It's a trip to Japan. Numero Uno visits the Orient for a look at the time-honored tradition of sumo wrestling. Sports Center wraps up your day with a look at the play in the NBA. Our teams in the know with all the win, place, and show. It's a Total Sports Wednesday on ESPN.
We're just moments away from the beginning of the 8th annual McDonald's All-America game. So now let's meet the players, the 25 stars who make up the 1984 McDonald High School All-Americans.
My name is Michael Brown. I'm from Dunbar High School in Baltimore, Maryland. My name is Derek Chivas. I'm from Holy Cross High School in Flushing, New York. My name is Ed Davner from Boys and Girls High School, Brooklyn, New York.
My name is Dwayne Farrell. I'm from Calvert Hall College in Towson, Maryland.
Hello, my name is Cedric Jenkins. I'm from Dawson, Georgia, and my high school is Terrell County High School.
My name is Shelton Jones. I'm from Amityville Memorial High School in Amityville, Long Island, New York.
My name is Derek Lewis, and I attend the Archbishop Carroll High School in Washington, D.C.
My name is Richard Madison. I go to Northside High School in Memphis, Tennessee.
My name is David Rivers from St. Anthony's High School in Jersey City, New Jersey. Hi, my name is Charles Smith. I'm from Warren Harding High School, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
My name is John Thompson. I'm from Brunswick Senior High in Lawrenceville, Virginia. Kevin Walsh, Camden High School, Camden, New Jersey.
My name is Chris Washburn from Laurinburg Institute, Laurinburg, North Carolina.
Bob Wade, Dunbar High School in Baltimore, Maryland. I will be coaching the East team.
Hi, my name is Matt Beezer. I go to Monterey High School, Santa Ana, California. My name is Delray Brooks from Rogers High School in Michigan City, Indiana.
Hi, my name is Gary Grant. I play for McKinley High School in Canton, Ohio.
Fred Jackson, Montbello High School, Denver, Colorado.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lang from Dollar High School in Fond du Lac, Arkansas.
I'm Troy Lewis from Anderson High School in Anderson, Indiana.
Hello, my name is Al Lorenzen from Kennedy High School in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
My name is Danny Mariner from Lawrence, Kansas. I go to Lawrence High School.
Hi, my name is Roger McClendon. I'm from Champaign, Illinois, and I attend Champaign Centennial.
I'm Craig McMillan. I'm from Cloverdale High School in Cloverdale, California.
Chris Sandel, Long Beach Valley High School, Long Beach, California.
My name is John Williams from Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles, California.
Bill Bobier, Valley High School, Las Vegas, Nevada. I will be coaching the West team.
In sports, timing is everything. And the same goes for watching sports. If your timing is a little off, you could...
To Pauley Pavilion, where history was made here by UCLA, and now history again. The 8th annual McDonald's All-American game. You met the players, the starting lineups. The West team will be the home team. Here's the East. They'll start Farrell and Lewis, the forwards, Washburn at center. Rivers and Michael Brown will be the guards. And for the home team, the West, wearing the white uniforms, the forwards will be Manning and Lorenzen. John Williams will be on the front line. The guards will be Delray Brooks and Troy Lewis from the state of Indiana, and that's quite a story we'll get to later. And here we go. The home team, the West in the white, coached by Bill Beaubier, Valley High School in Las Vegas, and the East in the blue, coached by Robert Wade from the great Dunbar High School in Baltimore, Maryland. Booker Turner, the referee, set to go, and Bucky, we're about to see some instant action.
Well, I think they'll be a little tight early, playing in this arena. And by the way, they only had a chance to shoot in here this morning because of a gymnastics exhibition. Oh, my.
Oh, there's Delray, or rather, Troy Lewis, the number 2 guard for the East, hit down pretty hard for the West. Let's see what happened here, Bucky.
Well, he certainly hit the deck hard. Let's take a look. The tip back.
Might have been a little push-off there.
Just a little. Well, he hit the Wayne Farrell, and that might make most folks fall down. But I do think they're going to be a little tight early. They've played in some All-Star games before, but this one's the classic.
Here goes Farrell right to instant action. Now the battle for the rebound is won by Delray Brooks. And back he comes for the West. Lorenzen in, and it's stripped away from him by Little Rivers, and up with the ball comes the East. No scores yet in the opening minutes, but they really like to go. Neither team is allowed to play zone defense on the rules, so they have to play man for man, and they'll be substituting by complete units midway through this first 12-minute quarter. Farrell cut off again at the free throw at the baseline, and a foul's going to be called on Danny Manning. Now the rule, Bucky, gets 6 fouls.
Well, I think the idea is to let these kids play and not be too restrictive. I think that's good. The 12-minute quarters will make for quite a long evening, especially if there are a lot of fouls. But didn't Rivers show some speed getting back on that break to strip Lorenzen?
He is going to excite the people around South Bend, Indiana. Now Dwayne Farrell going to Bobby Crimmon's program at Georgia Tech. And he's going to be a great addition down there out of Baltimore Calvert Hall High School. This guy was All-City 4 years and in a great program. We usually don't get the start through about a junior. 1-0 now. The first lead of the ball game is by the East. You can press any time. Now here goes a pure shooter look. Kept alive underneath, and let's see. That's Big John Williams down battling for it. He'll be a favorite here since he's from the city of Los Angeles and Crenshaw High School.
Without boring you with details, they are going to substitute by units, which will keep some continuity. Good for the players as well, because they're not trying to force shots to justify playing time.
That could be a turnover. Manning cannot get to it, so it's going to go to the East. The East leads 1-0 on a free throw by Dwayne Farrell. Now you're going to see David Rivers, one of the best point guards coming out of high school basketball here in 1984, played for the Friars of St. Anthony's in Jersey City. Great program there. Here goes Rivers. Bucky, I think you're right. A little bit tight, aren't they?
To be expected.
Now Troy Lewis, pure shooter, missed his first shot. And there goes a traveling call on Danny Manning, but he runs the court as well as any big man you've seen in years.
Oh, he's so agile and so quick. Yeah, you have to keep this in perspective. Well, they're looking at some of these players as taking major college teams to the Final Four and all that. They're 18 years old, and for many, the first time they've reached this kind of competition.
Well, Lorenzen stripped it, but Rivers got it right back. This is off on the side to Farrell. And now the jump shot by Washburn, and he draws the foul. Washburn hacked across the arms, and the big guy will go to the free throw line. Bob Wade here from Dunbar High School in Baltimore, Maryland. Came out of Morgan State, played the NFL for 3 years, so he could use his weight a little bit.
Well, the one thing it does, I'm sure it gets his players' attention. They're not prone to talk back to ex-NFL players.
Nobody talks back to this guy, do they? Chris Washburn, he's 260 pounds when the season started. And he has brought nothing but smiles to Jim Valvano, who's always a happy guy anyway. This guy's just going to get better and better as his career moves along. Averaged 24 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 block shots, so that's a average of a triple-double. Is that rare?
Yes, it is. And just watching his free throw there, it's an indication that tightness. A little quick. He was shooting with a beautiful rhythm in practices during the week. They'll settle down here.
Yep, 2-0 favor East. Here comes John Williams. John Williams, a great ball handler for a big guy. He just tied it up. There's the first score for the West. Gets a hand out here because Williams' home is just across the city of California in Crenshaw.
And he's also undecided, so some of this enthusiasm for him may be a ploy, structured or unstructured, by UCLA fans.
There goes Michael Brown on the drive. Almost got a weak side rebound by Manning. Farrell on him. Lorenzen Farrell just too quick for Lorenzen. Dwayne Farrell can shoot it off the dribble, as you see, and back to the lead goes the East by 2. Delray Brooks, outstanding ball handler. Now gets his fellow Hoosier, and there's what he can do best. Troy Lewis carries his second jump shot of the night, and we're tied for the second time at 4-4.
Terrific matchup at both ends of the floor. Rivers, number 10 in the blue, and Delray Brooks, number 12 in the white, going head-to-head.
Okay, the interesting matchup has already been started. Here goes Big Chris Washburn pivoting on the inside, kept alive, but over and back, and it will go to the East. High score, 4-4. We got 9:26 to go in the first quarter. Exactly 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter. We'll have two more teams coming on. One for the East, one for the West. Giving the All-Stars a 10. Danny Manning is always a threat with the ball in his hand. Lorenzen from the corner for the West. Let's block out on the inside. And now breaking is Rivers. There goes David Rivers for the layup for the West.
Challenge Delray Brooks. Rivers only about 6'1", but boy, he has afterburners.
He's back in the lead by 2 at 6-4. Now posting down low. A good cut in by Lorenzen. Nice weak side rebound by Al Lorenzen from Cedar Rapids, headed for George Ravling's Iowa Hawkeyes.
Many times when you get players that are trying to get up there and block shots, you'll see easy stickbacks on that offensive board.
Here goes Washburn. Nobody in the way. Nobody going to challenge him.
Well, there were a couple of guys that could have stepped in from the weak side, but they thought better of it.
Delray Brooks goes through. Now they're beginning to warm up a little bit. Heyday tied for the fourth time. Back the other way. Brooks gets it loose, but can't hold it. The East will have the ball. Here comes changes in.
You may have just seen it first. David Rivers being caught from behind.
Rivers now has been replaced. New player in there is Shelton Jones, a forward for the East team, and he's headed for St. John's. Washburn stays in. There's a block on the shot and a hook by Washburn, and a good follow by Farrell. Dwayne Farrell with his 5th point of the quarter. He's been the offensive standout so far. The East is back in the lead by a pair, 10-8. Now Jackson just came in the lineup. Give and go to Jackson inside, and the ball tipped back out to Troy Lewis. Troy Lewis spinning for the jump shot. He can put it up. Lorenzen following again. He's been tough on the offensive board.
Oh, he bangs around there like a young Dave Cowan.
10-8. Iowa can use that physical play and hurt them this year. They were a finesse team. Now long by Brown is knocked away by Troy Lewis. He walks. Good job by Troy Lewis. You know, Troy Lewis and Delray Brooks started this game in the backcourt for the West, Bucky, and they were just voted co-Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana. It's the highest honor you can get.
Yeah, that's the fact that they shared that Mr. Basketball, Jim. It's only happened 3 times. Back in the 60s, it been Arsdale's, and then again in the early 70s. And that's a coveted award in that storied state. Great tradition. You
saw the range there of John Williams, the big guy hitting the perimeter. They're tied for the 5th time at 10-10. First quarter here in the top. Oh, great move by Jones. And he thought he was fouled, breaking away. Now goes Troy Lewis, and he's in for an easy one. And Troy Lewis now has picked up a total of 4 points. Headed for Purdue and Gene Katie's Boilermakers.
Yeah, they've recruited very well this year. Co-Mr. Basketballs in Indiana will be looking at each other for 4 more years as Indiana and Purdue battle.
Well, what a rivalry that is. That's the first time the West has led here. It's now 12-10.
You better use good judgment when you go for that hoop, because we got some skyjackers there. There's one. Mr. Williams got a little piece of that one. John Williams, 6'8".
Burrell will go to the line. He's been a very active player here, a 3-time high school All-American from Calvert Hall in Baltimore.
I'm sure the Atlantic Coast Conference teams are not real thrilled about facing Henry Dalrymple and this young man, Burrell, for the next 3 years, as Bobby Crimmins continues to build a fine program in Atlanta.
And Mark Price for 2 more.
Oh, yeah. Pretty tough league.
A total of 7 points by Dwayne Farrell, who is the leading scorer of the game. We're tied up at 12-12. 6th time we've been tied. Lorenzen, great pass inside the Williams, and blocking that shot underneath was Derek Lewis, and he's just the best shot blocker in the country. Lorenzen's 4th point on the follow, though, and both have been on offensive stickbacks. 14-12 by the West. Now there's a good feed down here to Troy Lewis. He gave his team a 4-point lead. Oh, great block by Sheldon Jones, but they're going to call goaltending, and Troy Lewis gets credit for his 6th point of the quarter. 16-12, biggest lead by either team.
Started with a terrific outlet pass by Craig Jackson, 6'8". Caught it midair, and just before his feet hit the floor, he threw a frozen rope out there at midcourt.
Well, Jackson's coming here to UCLA, so you got a good hand for that. Now Farrell from the outside. And a rebound by Troy Lewis. Gets the trap down the double team. Back comes Sheldon Jones, feeding over to Derek Lewis. That's an easy shot. You don't give that many chances. Now Williams down to Manning. Look out. Basket is good. Even though it danced out of there, Manning gets his first point. They say he's the best in the country. Not many arguments there.
Well, you know, he threw that ball down in there so hard, the cotton shriveled up and kicked it back out. I don't think I've seen that many times.
6-point lead for the West. The first time that we've gotten any kind of a sizable lead by either team.
Oh, this will be ebb and flow. The good thing about the unit, though, we'll give the players some continuity to get used to each other instead of all the mass substitutions.
This is the last play, Bucky, before we change teams. The clock is stopped at 6 minutes. Washburn, top of the circle.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, here comes Williams, a big 6'8" point guard behind the back to Lewis. Woo!
Danny Manning in a little showtime, but you know, he was under control. Just eased it around there.
Troy Lewis, and now here comes the change. Both teams changing with other lineups. We're midway in the first quarter from Los Angeles. And it's the score of the West 20, the East 12 in the McDonald's All-America game.
If you missed SportsCenter last week, you missed David Sullivan's coverage of the Boston Marathon. Jeff Smith of Great Britain was the men's winner, while New Zealander Lorraine Muller won the women's division. And you missed Sharon Smith's report on the Wood Memorial, won by Leroy S., making another 3-year-old horse a possible pick for the upcoming Kentucky Derby. And you missed our continuing coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where the New York Islanders kept their drive for 5 alive. They'll meet the Canadiens, while the Oilers will meet the North Stars in the conference finals. SportsCenter, don't miss it.
More officers of major U.S. corporations read the Wall Street Journal than read any other single publication of any kind. They started reading the journal when they were on the way up. When are you going to start?
Save $7.50 off the cover price with a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. Order 19 weeks for $39. Phone toll-free 800-372-3000. That's 19 weeks, just $39. And save $7.50. Phone 800-372-3000.
West leads by 8, 20-12, the biggest lead so far. We've got fresh lineups in for both squads. In for the West now. The guards will be Gary Grant, Roger McClendon. Matt Wiesert will be at 1 forward, Chris Sandel the other, and Andrew Lang at center. And for the East, you look at the shooting percentage here in the first quarter. The forwards for the East will be Richard Madison and John Thompson, Charles Smith at center, Mitch Avner, and Kevin Walls, the guards. We'll tell you more about them as we move along. 10 new players now on the floor here in this All-America game.
The feeling was the West might have a little better starting unit, perhaps a little better balance in that second 5 for the East.
Big scramble for the ball, and a follow by Smith for the East. And a foul on the play, and it may be on Andrew Lang. Nope.
Foul's on number 24.
Foul's going to be on Gary Grant. a guard for the West. That's only the second team foul. They don't start shooting the 1-and-1 until you get to the 10th, so you may not see that.
Well, they're trying to limit the number of free throws, which I think is a good move for this kind of a game. Of course, it didn't take a genius to deduce that if you have the only 2 high school players in the country that have been invited to the Olympic trials on one team, they perhaps might have the stronger starting unit. But the East was impressive all week in drills.
This young fellow, Charles Smith, out of Harding High School in Bridgeport, finished number 8 in the nation in his high school team this year. 27-1 under Charles Bentley. Gets his first 2 points. Back to a 6-point lead. Jerry Grant driving into traffic. Ball's knocked loose. Beasley has got it for the West. Now here comes Andrew Lang driving across, and the rebound is picked up by Ed Davener. Fouled in the backcourt. Foul is against the West team. That'll be on Sandel.
Well, we have 2 new units in here now, so it'll take a few minutes for them to get adjusted.
Here's the guy who led the nation in scoring. Kevin Walls from Camden, New Jersey, averaged 46 points a game. Got 80 in one game.
That's
You think he can score?
That's a whole career for some folks.
Al Smith, down low. Spinning shot is up there. Beazard on the break. Beazard for the West. And here's Roger McClendon. Tried to hit Lang underneath. Went right through his hands. So McClendon, that's a little bit of hot pass at that range.
Yeah, McClendon right there from Champaign, Illinois is going to go to the University of Cincinnati because Tony Yates, the assistant coach at the University of Illinois right there in Champaign, recently moved to take the head job. So I'm sure Lou Henson was not glad to see Yates go and take McClendon with him.
Rebound is up Andrew Lang. Eddie Sutton's going to love that guy at University of Arkansas. Here comes Beazer. Beazer's the young California lad who's headed back to Notre Dame. Always wanted to go there, so he'll join David Rivers with the Irish. Gary Grant, highly sought point guard, hasn't made it be signed yet. Down low to Lang for the spinning shot. Andrew Lang from Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
He'll be teamed with Joe Klein, who has more eligibility for the Razorbacks. Eddie Sutton has had a problem there. If he's had a problem with all his great years, he's had terrific guards. Been a little thin in the front court.
Madison spinning and slammed on the inside by Smith. Won't go. Smith's going to get another chance maybe, and it's knocked out of bounds. It'll go to the West. Smith had a couple of chances. Then missed a slam dunk follow and then fumbled the ball when he had an open layup. Well, the West is hanging on that lead of 8 points, 22-14.
Walls, number 14 now, showing good defense.
There's a
Forced a turnover there. I think most people, when they hear numbers like that, think, well, the guy's just deflects the ball toward the basket, and that's his existence on the court. But he can go right. He's actually playing point guard. Can you imagine a point guard with a 46-point?
Over 2,000 points in high school. Ed Davener from the left side drills one in, and Kentucky's Joe B. Hall can smile on that one. 22-16, 6-point lead for the West. West had the 2 Olympic team players, but they're on the bench right now, and here the young guys trying to hold that lead of 8 points. On the right side, nice shot in there by McClendon. Roger McClendon, Champaign, Illinois, 24-16, an 8-point lead again.
McClendon reminds me of those Arkansas guards like Moncrief, those tall, rangy guys with the long arms that play the great D, and he does.
Entry pass was a little off as a reach-in foul on Matt Beazert. That's his first, and it's number 4 now against the West team. He's so far played without committing a single personal foul.
That doesn't sound like a team that's playing for a former NFL defensive back, does it? Well, but he only had 3 days with him.
You look at guys like Washburn and Madison and Thompson, and I don't think anybody get close enough to them for them to foul it. 24-16 now. Must play man for man. Now here goes Madison from the left side. From Memphis, Tennessee, the Master Blaster he's called.
Pretty good football player. I'm sure Johnny Majors made a pass to him.
24-18. Got over his football injuries. Loves basketball. Oh, Lang had. He took his eye off the ball, Bucky.
Yep. Typical big man problem. Got so anxious to get his feet right to slam it home and forgot to look the ball into his hand.
Bill Bobier from Las Vegas Valley High School. Last 9 years, won 138, lost only 9 the last 4 years. That's some 4-year stretch. Walls down the middle and draws the foul. So Walls, who hasn't handled the ball that much, tried to get in the scoring flow, and he's fouled on the play. Craig McMillan gets the West 15th foul, his first.
Kevin Walls will follow the Louisville connection. Willie Thompson, Milt Wagner preceded him at Camden High School, have gone on to Louisville for fine careers. That's beginning to be Louisville or Camden West or Louisville East, depending on how you look at it.
17 fouls that was. Walls was just dominant in the Derby Classics with 32 points, and they loved him in Louisville, of course, not only for his play, but just you mentioned, but he's going to play for Denny Crump. Full court pressure now, thrown up here by the East. Here comes McMillan. Craig McMillan beats the press. McMillan off the dribble, and he hits McClendon for about a 20-footer. Put up in Lang. Boy, Lang showed some power on the inside.
Yes, he did, Jim, and in traffic, he kept the ball high and put it right back up. I really liked him in the practices. He's green, but he has good talent, and he'll get good coaching at Arkansas.
There goes Walls trying to penetrate and dish off. He had the idea right there to hit Derek Chivas, who was under the board, and there was a personal foul on the play against Roger McClendon. First one on him. 26-19, 7-point lead by the West, coached by Bill Gaudier, and featuring Danny Manning and Delray Brooks headed for the Olympic trials, and a host of other truly All-Americans. Here's one right here, Kevin Walls for the East. Walls only 1 for 3. His high school finished number 4 in the nation, as undefeated 31-0 under Clarence Turner, lead the Panthers. 2 points for Wall, 26-20.
Team foul so far, West 8, East none.
He's putting up a little full court pressure now, trying to force the action of the West. Beasley gets over Lang. Here comes Lang. Lang takes it right inside, and he is fouled by Chivas as he drives in there.
Ordinarily, under circumstances like that, you really don't want to give it to a big man. Watch Lang now, pretty good, 6'9", under control. Usually you don't like your big man handling the ball in the lane that way, but he gathered his body very well, took it to the glass. I liked him. He is green, but he is talented.
Fouls on Thompson, 21 points, 14 rebounds. That's what he did. Bucky, they said if you add up all the averages here, these teams average about 300 points apiece.
Well, yeah, but they don't play against men like they're playing against tonight. I mean, you look at the bodies out there, it's really hard to believe they're 18 and 19 years old.
Lang's picked up 6 points in 4 minutes he's been in there, 28-20. 8-point lead again by the West All-Americans. Must play man-for-man defense. Chivas now penetrating Chivas. Oh, look at that great block on the inside by Lang. He's doing it all. Now follow-up on the inside is hit. That was Chivas. Derek Chivas.
Oh, Kevin Walls with a quick steal, Mississippi, showing he can play defense. A one-man press.
28-22. Another kneel steal, and getting free now is Beasley, and air ball picked off on the inside by John Thompson. Here comes Kevin Walls. Walls flips a pass to Chivas. Chivas sliding inside, foul on the play. Going to be a 2-shot foul. Chivas was hammered as he went in there. Now the East team is asking for a goaltend.
Kevin Walls dishing off. Watch, maneuvering in traffic here. Nothing but white shirts around him.
Fouls on Matt Beazert, which will be his second.
Derek Chivas uncommitted, really forcing his way to the basket the first 2 times he had the ball.
Well, if you can believe the rumors, Bucky, the 2 schools close to him, probably in this order, are Villanova and your old school Duke.
Is that right? I don't, I try not to even listen to those rumors, but it is a topic of conversation, and there's some coaches here trying to latch on to these uncommitted.
Here's Lang having ball. Yep, Chris Sandel. Sandel out of the corner, the left-hander. And rebound is ripped off here by Madison. Here comes Walls. Back to Madison. The Walls for the layup. Nice work. And the East is coming back. It's 28-27. Only a 1-point lead.
Terrific 2-man break. Walls, Madison, back to Walls, and just turned the defense around. Craig McMillan had a 2-on-1 situation, played it about as well as he could. If the offense does it right, they're supposed to get a shot on the board, and they did.
Walls broke all the South Jersey scoring records. Missed the 3-point play. Rebound by Roger McMillan, and he is fouled by Walls, who tried to get it back. First foul on Kevin Walls, the pride of the Panthers from Camden, New Jersey. And there's Craig McMillan headed to Arizona to play for Lute Olson. Coaches do a good job, though, Bucky, the short time they have them.
Yeah, they do. They don't try to overcoach, and that's very important. It's enough to get them just to learn everybody's name.
There was Snap on the right spot at the right time. Inside Beasley gets his own rebound and still battling for it. And it's pulled down by the East.
Beasley may need a tetanus shot. He didn't even get a foul. You say one thing for him, he's not afraid to take it back up.
Well, there goes John Thompson. Another headache for the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, and the East has come back to take the lead. So maybe this East second unit was a little stronger, Bucky.
Well, they sure have come from nowhere. They were 8 down when they came in. They now have a 1-point lead. 45 seconds to go. They have a good chance to go down with a lead at the half.
That personal foul was a ball control by Beasley. That's his third. And he's going to get the ball.
Beasley's the guy that's been just working so hard on that offensive board and getting hammered, and he can't go to the foul line, and yet he has 3 quick ones.
And that's the 10th team foul against the West. The East is going to go to the 1-1. I didn't think we'd see that this quickly. We're still in the first quarter. Madison doesn't get the play in. 29-28. East in the lead by a point. Sandel, nice fake. Left-hander gets inside, dumps it into Lang for a nifty move. Oh, it's a shame he didn't make that one. Charles Smith with the rebound for the East. This East second unit has really come back to life. They came in with a team trailing by 8. Now the lead by 1, 29-28.
Notice Wall setting things up. Well, I thought he was setting things up.
He tried to be Paul Washburn. Double, he traveled. Yeah, a little bit too much one-man gang there.
Yeah, that time it was. He has been giving it up nicely. I still can't believe that a guy with 46-point average passes the ball at all. But he looks to be a fine potential point guard.
Boy, look at that pick in the backcourt. And I'm telling you, Lang had set a pick back there, and Chivas just wiped him out. What?
Well, of course, this is a talking situation. It was a terrific pick. Andrew Lang just took his medicine. Chivas never saw him, and he's not supposed to. He's supposed to get help on that. Defensive breakdowns like that are common in this kind of a game.
5 seconds to go to get off a shot. He's leading by a point. And forced up by McMillan. He gets the foul with 2 seconds to go. That's a smart play by Craig McMillan. Haiti Fowler, his high school coach, was his own father. And there was some of that fast thinking on the court. He knew time was running out.
Yeah, that's always a controversial foul because the defense really did, in my opinion, keep his hands straight up. So it's an unfortunate foul. Smart play for the offense. John Thompson, you know, he had his spot and he just held his hands up and the offense came into him. But invariably, even with the emphasis on that rule this year, that offensive player gets the break.
Well, they get one out of the bargain. There was McMillan trying to get another one headed for the basket. But the West has pulled back even. So the end of the first quarter from Pauley Pavilion in Los Angeles, the score in the McDonald's All-America. The East 29, the West 29.
You're going, you're moving, you got to keep moving. Can't hold you back, you got it, that you're on the go. On the go. Cause you know you got to show. You keep it moving, keep it grooving. You just can't take it slow. Together on the go.
The center and the guards are Michael Brown and David Rivers. Well, this first go-round, there you're looking at Bob Wade, head coach of the East. And here's Bill Bobier, head coach of the West. It'll be the West ball to start the second quarter. They play the alternate possession rule here in this game as they do in college. That's what these young men will be facing the next 4 years. Delray Brooks runs down backcourt. Here he comes to the West. This team grabbed the lead. And here goes Brooks inside. Ball stripped away by Rivers, who got him. David Rivers. Personal foul will put Delray Brooks on the line. First one on Rivers. And here's Delray Brooks, who's been an outstanding player in Indiana for the last 2 or 3 years. He and Troy Lewis have been battling for Mr. Basketball the last couple of years for this 1984 season. They finally were named co-Mr. Basketball.
34 points a game and 5 assists. It's a total of 44 points that personally accounts for.
8 rebounds.
Yes, but the thing that's really key about this guy is his defense. Got that 37-inch sleeve, and he loves to play it. Very smart player.
Well, if you play for Bob Knight, you must get acquainted with defense.
Yeah, at Bloomington, defense is not what you put around the yard. You play it hours and hours and hours.
There's a scramble down here for Ole Miss, and it's a follow nicely, and the shot is hit by Derek Lewis, and I think he's fouled by Danny Manning.
There's a scramble. Nobody can get a fork in it. Finally, Derek Lewis takes it up in traffic. He needed a helmet for that move.
Be a chance for a three-point play for Derek Lewis from Carroll High School, Washington, D.C. Maybe the best defensive forward in the whole country. A premier shot blocker, but he can score, as he's shown us here this week. Well, let's check. That was not Derek Lewis.
And Danny Manning has 12 personal fouls.
Steal by Rivers. Rivers back the other way. Here's Rivers around his man. Look out, South Bend.
It's called quick on quick. Biesert's a fine player, but David Rivers is the dimension that Digger Phelps really needs with this program. He needs speed, and this is the best guard since Paxton that he has recruited.
33-31. He's a little quicker than Paxton is.
Very much quicker.
Now Delray Brooks off the dribble. A little short. Lorenzen, another good job. Spots his man Jackson underneath. Just a minute. Now here comes Shelton Jones. Threw it away. Trying to hit Wayne Farrell.
George Raveling has to be pleased with Lorenzen coming to Iowa. He's a banger, he's aggressive, and he's looking to give up the ball. Those are ingredients you normally have to teach in college. And he's coming to Iowa City with them.
Now the East has a 2-point lead here in the first couple of minutes of the second quarter. John Williams out of the corner for the West. The big guy's got range.
They call him prime time.
And down floor goes Dwayne Farrell. The Georgia Tech to be 35-33. 2-point lead for the East. Delray Brooks driving. There's a great block and a follow by Williams. John Williams gets his 8th point. He was player of the year in Los Angeles, and he is showing the hometown fans a little bit of a show here in the first half. I imagine that Tarkanian and Crum are watching very closely because he hasn't decided. Rivers on a follow, partially blocked. Another good play by Delray Brooks. Almost stolen by Williams. Back down comes Jackson. Here's Danny Manning off the glass. Manning has scored only 2 points so far. Watch Rivers. 35-35 tie.
Watch this matchup now. Rivers and Delray Brooks at the top of the key.
There goes Rivers.
Now that shows you something. He just put up a jumper. Delray Brooks rejected it. He comes right back in his face.
37-35. One of 13 children. You know what he got in life he had to earn, but
you can't get discouraged. Whatever you do, you better be able to do it quick.
Look at that pass by Manning. Isn't that a beautiful and a layup missed inside by Jackson. What a pass by Manning, though. Here comes Rivers again. Finished by Jones. Boy, Rivers is putting on a show here for the folks in California. 39-35. East is up by 4. Their biggest lead. Another steal. Here comes Derek Lewis. Shooting for Rivers. Back for Lewis. And a foul on the play. But has this Rivers put some spark in this game?
Very much so. This time it's the first unit of the East. Good 2-on-1 play, and Derek Lewis taking it right to the hoop.
Number 33, John Williams.
It's only right. Derek Lewis made the steal to start it all, and he got hammered pretty good by John Williams. But the key thing is Williams getting back on defense to even get into play. Looks like a bus, moves like a greyhound.
Another free throw coming to Derek Lewis, headed for University of Maryland. Rated right behind Manning and Farrell among the forwards, and it's the year of the forward, they say, coming out of high school basketball. 41-35. This is the biggest lead by the East, 6 points. West led by 8. Delray Brooks double team. Ball is taken away. Michael Brown and Rivers did it. Here comes Michael Brown all the way. And a follow by Shelton Jones. Shelton Jones headed for St. John's. And we're going to get a timeout. The West calling a timeout as the East has poured it on here, and they've opened up our biggest lead of the game. Timeout with a score: the East 43, the West 35.
ESPN's May lineup features a festival of sports.
All-America game. I'll show you some of the top scores out of the past, the history of this game a little later. A screen for John Williams. And John Williams comes right off that timeout for the West with a set play to score. 43-37, back to a 6-point lead. But here's the guy who's stealing the hearts now of about 9,000 fans here tonight, David Rivers, a little guy from New Jersey. Spinning shot by Washburn, blocked off of there, and a good follow inside by Lewis. And he either traveled or he charged. I think it was a travel by Derek Lewis. Nope, they're going to call it out.
Pound for pound, inch for inch, called one of the finest board men. Good rejector, good offensive rebounder, quick jumper.
And he was caught there for an offensive foul, so that turns the ball over to the West. They're trailing by 6. Delray Brooks driving inside, has the ball blocked down and fired up by Troy Lewis and down by Washburn. Now comes the East. They have the lead. David Rivers being checked by Delray Brooks. Gets inside to Derek Lewis. And the rebound comes outside. Danny Manning. Here comes Manning. He can move for a big guy. Watch him. Manning.
I'm not believing that. Jim Thacker, I'm not believing that. He just blew everybody away.
And he breaks up a pass at the other end of the court. Thank you. 6'10", Danny Manning has a mumbling.
This guy looks like a bus and runs like a greyhound. Just the opposite of John Williams. John Williams, he just left everybody. Just like, bam, gone.
Larry Brown just said, oh, my, 4 more years left. Derek Lewis the inside. Big, strong rebound by John Williams. This guy can run the floor, too, for a big guy. John Williams rolling hard. Williams.
Some kind of basketball player.
43-41. The West pulls back within 2. 2 big guys on back-to-back plays.
We're talking about a front court for the West that's mobile, agile, and hostile. They can motor.
Look at Rivers, Delray Brooks. Rivers wins the fight. And tipped in on the inside by Shelton Jones. 8 points for Jones. 45-41. He's by 4. Billy changing teams on ground. Comes Williams, drops to Manning. Inside goes Manning. Manning follows. Manning again, and a foul. And I think the foul came before the tip in. It's going to be on Michael Brown. First one on the Dunbar High player from Baltimore. Played here for his coach. He's playing for tonight. Bob Wade for the East team.
Well, Bob Wade and Bill Bobier, the coach of the West, both have done a good job for 2 reasons. These games really stress defense and
great pass by Manning.
But you seldom get it. It's mostly a dribble and shoot, and you've got to be impressed with the
Rivers. Rebound. Washburn takes it up inside strong, and he is fouled on the play by Delray Brooks on the West. Foul number 1 on Brooks. Well, on that switch, that was a little mismatch.
Some of those moves will be refined or rejected by their college coaches. But in this kind of a game, it is exciting. Those are the kind that give coaches ulcers.
You know, Washburn plays a sophomore in his hometown of Hickory, North Carolina. Then as a junior, he played for Fort Union High School in Virginia. And there's a senior at Laurinburg Institute. So he's moved around a lot of different coaches.
Yeah, and I'm sure that hasn't helped his development. He actually backed out of that free throw. But he has a superb future. He's shy, introverted type like Valvano.
Look at Williams feeding to Troy Lewis. Forget it. Troy Lewis can bury him from about every angle. Really a pure shooter, maybe the best in this game.
Howard Garfinkel's line on him is an ivory shooter. 99 and 44, 100% pure.
46-43. Michael Brown cut off by Troy Lewis. Washburn tries to get into a shot, and Danny Manning is whistled for the foul, which will be 3 or 4 on him. You get 6 in this game, but Manning's picked up 4.
Number 25.
46-43. But what a graceful athlete Danny Manning is.
Well, in this bumper crop, as it's reputed to be, he is the secretariat of this year's high school group. It is a very strong year in forwards, as you've already pointed out, and second guards or off guards or shooting guards. If there's a thin area, it's at the center spot and at the point guard or lead guard.
And this guy right here is rated one of the most powerful centers in the land. He and Andrew Lang is on the Chris Washburn. Good rebound by John Williams. Williams done a good job on the boards. He's going to be a great strong forward. Here's Williams. Off the pass. Williams. He's having a big scoring night. That's 14 points for John Williams. 47-45. West back with it, 2. Here comes Rivers again through the pass. Straight inside, and the layup is by Washburn. Another great assist by David Rivers for the East. Watch it again.
Again, Rivers versus Delray Brooks, and Delray can't contain him. Draws everybody in the air, gives it to Chris Washburn, who shows his agility, using the rim to protect against the reject and make it look easy.
Now, the top scorers in the history of this game, we promised you. Michael Jordan, Player of the Year from North Carolina this year, 30 in 1981. Adrian Grant, still playing for Maryland with 24, and Darren Day with 22 from UCLA. And the top rebounders, Sam Perkins. That's quite a bookend pair for Dean Smith, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you call solid recruiting years.
Okay, 6 minutes to go in quarter number 2. Things are just heating up here at Pauley Pavilion, so don't go away. We'll be right back to score. Is the East 49, the West 45 in the McDonald's All-America game.
Ease into morning with McDonald's.
Break it to me gently. I like my mornings easy and slow. Pour me some sunshine. Open my eyes with a welcome smile before I go. Break it to me gently. I've got hard work to do. So get a roll, McDonald's, and
It's time to get pumped up again. The United States Football League is...
Wood, 10 national championships, 7 in a row. Isn't that incredible? And here are the stars of tomorrow. You're going to be hearing about these young men for the next 4 years. Gary Grant right here. Outstanding point guard from Canton, Ohio. And here comes Sample off the dribble, the left-hander. Fires it in. His first basket. 49-47, the West cuts it back to 2. Ed Daviner is now the point guard for the East.
Headed for Kentucky, possibly to replace Dickie Bill.
Chivas drives inside, gets right into a double team, but he draws the foul. I think it's going to be on McMillan. Andrew Lang was also back there. Yep, fouls on McMillan.
Good big step. Going baseline, drawing a crowd, doing a smart thing, bringing those white jerseys to him. Good ball fake.
Chivas on the line. Derek Chivas from Holy Cross High School in Flushing, New York. All-time Holy Cross scorer in history up there. They've had some outstanding players. Kevin Stakem, remember him from Providence?
Yes, indeed. Chivas really forces that ball to the basket. He has great confidence in his ability to make it come out right, but he really takes it in some precarious situations.
Gary Grant penetrates inside, dumps it in low, and here's a spinning shot by Lang. Good, solid block out there by Charles Smith for the East. Back comes Daviner. Daviner off the dribble on the break. Rebound is run down by Sample. The West takes it the other way, trailing by 3. Grant feeds inside to Beaver. And a wild shot. Rebound is going to be grabbed here by the East. Chivas up to Smith. Now they're going to settle it down a little bit.
Grant threw that bounce pass after leaving the floor. That's really tough to do. Normally it bounces up in the shooter or the potential shooter's face. He threw it off.
Beaver comes out of here for the West. And he hits over to Sandel, and they set it up for Gary Grant with plenty of time. Remember the last time Bucky the East came out here, they trailed by 8 points, and they wiped that out. They come in this time with a 3-point lead. Let's see what happens.
Well, both of these teams are going to score in flurries. There's just great offensive explosiveness, but the defense is very solid. They're working at it. One of the problems is guards all penetrate well, and sometimes they're not having good defensive balance.
There goes Grant, and it's 2 in a row for Gary Grant. Kentucky and Illinois are fighting over him right now, we understand, but he's a great penetrator. And he can deal off from inside. He's going to make some college coach a great playmaker. Inside Thompson. And back comes the West. This is Grant leading the break. 3-on-1. Grant just stops faking. Nobody wants it. And Sanders is out there. And now Charlie Smith, now Chivas rather, has it down. He's getting a little physical out here. Boy, look at Grant's a great defensive player. And he is cutting it off from Daviner. We're going to get a timeout. Grant just completely frustrated Daviner, covered him like a blanket, and he calls timeout. The East does, and they are trailing by a point as the West has gone back home top. So we have timeout in Los Angeles. The score of the McDonald's All-America game, the West 30-51, the East 50.
Hi,
I'm Vic Braden, and I have a great bargain from Tennis, the world's foremost tennis magazine. You know, I'm really proud to be part of this magazine because it's a magazine that guides you, it keeps you up to date, helps you enjoy and improve your game. And it answers questions like, what's the best racket for my game? How can I improve my serve? What tennis camp should I go to? How can I prevent tennis elbow? How can I put more tennis pizzazz into my doubles game? How can I avoid choking on the big points? Who's the best tennis player of all time? Bertha Finkenbaum? What's life really like on the Pro Tour? How can I hit a better backhand? Well, are you going to find the answers to these and many more questions in this great magazine? So take advantage of a better than half-price offer from Tennis Magazine, one of the best bargains in the game. Imagine 9 monthly issues of the world's largest selling and best tennis magazine for only $6. That's less than 67 cents a copy. Now, you won't find any bargains like this at your newsstand these days. So call now. Toll free. 1-800-544-1000. That's 1-800-544-1000. And that's not all. When you call today, you'll also get free not 1, but 5 concise, constructive booklets that are sure to improve your game. Talk about bargains. I mean, just look at what you get. 9 monthly issues of tennis for only $6. I mean, that's less than 67 cents a copy. Compare that with a regular newsstand price of $1.75 or the regular subscription price of $1.16, then you'll see what a value this is. So don't miss this great offer. Take advantage now by calling toll-free 1-800-544-1000. That's 1-800-544-1000. And if you read this magazine very carefully, especially my column, you just might be famous by Friday.
Now the battle of the second units is underway. We really can't call them the second unit, just the alternate units. Second brothers, 5 did not start the game, but they're going to play half the game. That's Madison feeding out to Daviner. That's Madison from Memphis. And he goes to Daviner from Brooklyn, New York. Played with the Pearl last year at Boys and Girls High. Daviner on the dribble. Well, he learned a little from the Pearl, the human scoring machine. Well, around New York City.
Last year he learned to play without the ball because the Pearl had it until he decided to give it up.
52-51. East is back in the lead. The lead changed hands 7 times now. He's seen 2 great point guards here tonight, Rivers and Grant. Ball knocked away. Grant cannot recover. Well, off his fingertips.
Well, I contend Walls and Davender are going to be good point guards as well. Davender, of course, probably groomed to replace Dickie Beal, and certainly at this point in their comparative careers, Davender's a better prospect. He's more under control, got a little more size, I think, and he has equal speed.
So what you're saying, there's some great players out there, right? There goes Davender again. Rebound. Oh, that's a great control down there for the West team by Sandel. 52-51. East is lead is 1 point. Gary Grant. Nice move by McMillan on the inside. Get free. His ball comes outside, and it's grabbed by Grant. He whistles a pass on the inside. And hitting it was McClendon. Roger McClendon from Champaign, Illinois. Just sent the West back in the lead, 53-52.
Gary Grant off the dribble with that left-handed pass. Guards here very impressive.
Backing up inside, John Thompson double dribble.
John Thompson also going to North Carolina State along with Chris Washburn. I think if anybody asks where's the beef next year, it's going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yep.
You realize that those two are going to join Lorenzo Charles in an awesome front line.
Grant has the ball knocked away by Kevin Walls. Grant recovers. Good mix-up. Boy, we got some great guard matchups here. Here comes McClendon. Almost lost in the shadow. The guard stripped away by Davender. And it's going to go to the West. Daviner thought he had the steal. Turnovers about even. West has had 2 more. They lead it, 53-52. This time, this alternate unit by the West is more and holding its own. It's wiped out a 3-point deficit and taken the lead. Grant, with the straight pass to the inside of McClendon. And whereas we had David Rivers for the East, now we're getting a little Gary Grant from the West.
Sensational pass. It was a little firm because he played it off the chest. Ed Daviner trying to come and make a play from the back, which almost never happens. But he has great confidence in his jumping ability. Those turnovers at 9 and 7 really are extraordinary in this kind of a game with the defensive intensity. And remember now, they're playing 12-minute quarters, so we're looking at nearly a 23-minute stretch to measure those, and I think that's an outstanding statistic.
56-52. We're still a minute and a half away from the end of the first half, so right on target here for both teams being in the 100, and sinking from the outside is Chivas. Derek Chivas still hasn't decided where he'll play his college basketball. Will it be Villanova? Will it be Duke? Will it be a surprise?
Well, he's showing another dimension with that outside shot.
Walls slips the ball away. Loose ball down there, and Walls is going to roll it up Florida Chivas. Here comes Chivas. Super block on the inside, but I think they get Lang for the foul.
Kevin Walls made a heck of a play, but I was raised in Camden, and I know I just knew he was going to come out with it. Look at this move. I mean, that takes courage to take it in on that big fella.
Andrew Lang, they're saying he may become the best center in the country someday. One of the best shot blockers around. He just showed you why. He averaged 10 a game.
Well, he's got that Russell quality. You know, he's green offensively. He just put a jumper up a few minutes ago that was ill-advised, but he's very comfortable defensively and around the basket. He's a quick jumper, and he's got an enormous body. I think he's, well, to say he's going to be another Russell is, you know, it's just very much stretching it at this point. But he has those same instincts, and he loves to bang.
1 minute to go in the first half. Score is tied now for the 10th time at 56-56.
You have to remember, Russell was cut from his high school team, so they don't all look that good that early.
Lang a little strong. Sandel, a big, strong follow inside and push off by John Thompson. The foul is on Thompson from Lawrenceville, Virginia. As you watch Bill Bovier pacing around the west bench.
This is what you call offensive rebounding. Notice going under the rim now, trying to protect. He had the feeling that he could hear footsteps right behind him, so he tried to use that rim to protect a reject. Madison, the master blaster, right behind him, so he slid under the iron and drew a foul on the other side. Of course, he's left-handed, so it was a more natural move.
Very quick jumper, Sandel, and he has a very quick release, whether he's from the field or the free throw line. 58-56, the West now has moved back to a 2-point lead. Well, the West had made up 5 points. They were trailing by 3 when these two units exchanged a moment ago. Now they're up by 2. There's a block on the outside, and by McClendon, I think they'll get a foul as Daviner tried to take it up very quickly. McClendon now.
One instinct that's creeping back into the game. All of these high school All-Americans basically had offenses built around them. And the thing that they were doing early that was impressive is that they would pass the ball and then move. Now, as they're beginning to go back to basic instincts, they're passing and standing, which is natural. When you're the star, you feel like you don't have to go away and clear it for somebody else. You're waiting for the game to come back to you. But the coaches have done a good job.
Daviner, who we understand committed to Kentucky Bucky and didn't even visit Lexington.
Boy, that's called great recruiting. That's good for the budget, too.
McClellan to McMillan. Got 25 seconds to go here in the first half. And here goes McClendon. Yes, gets the roll. McClendon sends the West ahead by 4. And a quick steal down here by Grant. And here comes Walls. Walls has got 10 seconds to do something. Ball knocked loose. McMillan's got it for the West. And he goes to Grant. And Grant is fouled on the play by Walls. Well, Walls just became frustrated a little bit, trying to grab at Grant. He fouled him pretty decisively.
Yeah, not a good foul. He got him on top of the head. It was very obvious he wanted to take away the layup, but you really need to hold up that driver under those circumstances.
60-56. The West team has really surged back here after trailing midway here in the second quarter by 3 points. That's when these two teams exchanged. And this fivesome that's come on, Gary Grant, Andrew Lang, Chris Sandel, Roger McClendon, and Craig McMillan has done a great job. Wiped out the deficit, and they picked up 4 more points. Could make it a half a dozen.
Gary Grant from McKinley High School in Canton, Ohio. Stokes and Taylor, the backcourt from Ohio State this year from that same high school. Boy, it turned out.
Yeah, they played for the Bulldogs up there. Mike Riley, they certainly done a job. 62-56, 6-point lead, and here comes Danner. Will not get off a shot. Nope. First half ends. And the West, the favorite in this team, but they came up with their second unit to get the lead here at halftime by a total of 6 points. So that's the end of the first half of this 1984 McDonald's All-America game. The score, the West 62, the East 56.
Sally Bell plays the piano a little better than she tumbles. But she tries hard at both.
You can do it.
McDonald's sponsors sports from gymnastic teams like Sally's to the Olympics for one reason.
You can do it.
We believe that tiny voice not only makes better athletes, it makes better kids.
You can do it.
ESPN Saturday night USFL action features an Eastern Conference clash when Tampa Bay plays Washington live. The Bandits' Wayne Peace could find the crease in the Federal front four. It's a game of awesome offense versus daring defense, live Saturday on your Total Sports Network.
The USFL's best take their midterm test Friday. Tom Mees grades every quarterback sack and offensive attack inside the USFL.
Back here at Pauley Pavilion now. We're about a moment or two away from the start of the second half. 12-minute quarters remaining here. Only a 6-point lead for the West, 62 to 56. And here's where some of these young players are going. A good recruiting year, you'd have to say, for Digger Phelps. Not only get Beazert, but he also comes up with Rivers.
Yeah, Rivers was especially key. Backcourt problems, injuries, some academic ineligibilities really put Digger Phelps in a bind. The front line is formidable. Kempton, and now will be joined by Matt Beazert. But the real key is that point guard, somebody that can operate in the fast lane, and certainly Rivers can do that.
Delray Brooks, who may become a point guard in Indiana, bring up Steve Alford just to do some shooting. Gary Grant, they say, is undecided between Kentucky and Illinois, with Ohio State hanging in there, and maybe another one or two. Craig Jackson coming here to UCLA from Denver, Colorado.
We'll greet Walt Hazard, who got a very late start in recruiting because of the late coaching change there, and Andrew Lang, that we've talked about quite a bit tonight, going to Arkansas. We'll be playing with Joe Klein for Eddie Sutton, give them a little depth in the front court. Perry Lewis going with Gene Cady at Purdue, superb shooter.
Maybe the best they've had since the Rocket up there for shooting.
Ooh, you comparing with Rick Mann already?
I don't know, but he's up here. Al Lorenzen, he'll certainly help Iowa's program with George Raveling. Staying at home he is. Danny Manning at Kansas is, well, he's just outstanding player, maybe the best to come along at that position in a long, long time. Here's some more. Roger McClendon going to Cincinnati with Tony Yates.
Pac-10 picking up 2 there with Bob Weinauer and Lute Olson.
Then we got 3 undecided. John Williams may go to Las Vegas, may go to Louisville. Michael Brown leaning towards Syracuse, we hear. Derek Chivas, this may come down between Villanova and Duke. But Kentucky having a banner year again.
Yeah, they've got 3 in this game. North Carolina has edged them for the most over the history of the game, but I think this 3 may put them ahead of the Tar Heels, who have recruited so well over the years.
Here's some of the others. Jenkins, you see, going to Kentucky, and so is Madison. Jones to St. John's going to help the Redmen. Derek Lewis just makes Maryland a solid team next year.
Yeah, he's going to have some opportunities to play. Lefty loses some people on the front line, but he's Lefty's kind of player. He's kind of hard-nosed, tough on that glass.
There's Rivers. Charles Smith to Pittsburgh. We join Aiken. They've had 2 good recruiting years in a row. John Thompson going to State. That's 2 big ones for State. Thompson and Washburn, as you see, and of course Walls headed for Louisville.
Starters are number 13, Roger McClendon, number 20, Craig McMillan, number 52, Matt Beazert, number 54, Andrew Lang, number 24.
Original starting lineups are in now. Let's see. John Thompson will be in there forward with Derek Chivas for the East. Charlie Smith is there. That's their second unit, actually. That's their starting. Kevin Walls and Ed Daviter in the backcourt. And the second unit for the West, Beazert, McMillan, Lang, Grant, and McClendon. So they're going to wait. They'll have the big boys finishing up by the fourth quarter. The coaches can substitute as well. Inside, Charles Smith prevented that fumble. And here's Ed Daviter. Good point guard. Man-for-man defense. That's the mandatory in this game. He cannot use his zone.
They can, however, press anytime they want. Many of these all-star games have prohibited that.
Charlie Smith to the outside, and Lang sweeps it off here for the West. West leads by 6. Well, Lang is going to get just been flying inside. It's going to be awesome next year for Arkansas. Here's McMillan coming off a screen.
Craig McMillan.
Craig McMillan with his 3rd point of this game, his first field goal. 64-56 equals the West's biggest lead. 8. Posting up inside, and it's spinning shot. Beautifully hit by John Thompson.
Nice pass by Walls. Good bounce pass into the post.
Thompson, the #1 player in the state of Virginia. Perhaps it might be Kevin Madden heading for North Carolina next year. Here comes the break, and Davender takes it all the way and hooks it right over McMillan. Nice job by Davender.
That even looked like Dwayne the Pearl Washington, teammate of Ed Davender last year.
64-60. The West lead is 4. The East fighting back. Gary Grant fires underneath, and a nifty layup down there.
Basket by Roger McClellan. Assist Gary Grant.
Looks like an NBA game, but believe me, they're playing pretty good D. Well, some of those guys have skin under their fingernails out there.
66-62. Davender gets his second field goal here in this quarter. Grant dishing off underneath, and an easy shot for Lang. Boy, Grant's penetration set that up for Lang.
I went through that lane like a knife through hot butter.
68-62. Here's the steal. Here goes Grant again inside. And rebound. McMillan's down there, but cannot hold it. Well, that's an outstanding job that Cheeve just did trying to draw the charging foul, but Grant equally adept with an acrobatic acrobatic. Here comes Kevin Wills, the nation's leading scorer, 46 points a game.
Throwing the charge in games like this is very rare.
Down the middle now. Here's the dish off by Daviner on the penetration. No basket. There was a blocking foul by Lang.
Daviner showing that big step on the penetration.
That's one team foul now for the West in the second half. They shoot the bonus in this game, starting with a 10th foul of each half, not the 7th. Logic there is not to let free throws decide this game. Thompson driving hook. Are you watching Jim Valvano? John Thompson, who will be going in with Chris Washburn to the Wolfpack program in Raleigh next year.
Joining Lorenzo Charles in what has to be one of the more formidable front lines. I hope they reinforce the floor. It'll have to take about a ton.
There's Thompson with a steal, stripped right back by the West, and here's Gary Grant with a fall away. Rebound down by Charles Smith. Now Smith, the big guy, he's about 6'9", brings it right down on the break. And up goes Lang. Oh boy, the Arkansas fans are going to love him. Smith goes to the floor for the loose ball. Who's going to get it? Nobody. Goes out of bounds and will belong to the East.
Boy, Lang just eating varnish there going after that loose ball. You don't see many big guys get down on their hands and knees, and I'm not going to ask him if he does windows. He's pretty fierce.
Getting skin burns on his chin. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. 68-64 at 6-minute mark. They changed teams. Ball stolen away by McClellan. McClellan's going to take it all the way, and he's fouled intentionally by Daviner to prevent the layup. Second foul on Daviner. Well, these kids are going all out.
Well, Daviner's frustrated by this. He thought his teammate was going to pick up that errant pass. But here, at least, he takes away the shot. Notice now, he holds him up. That's a much better foul than we had in the first half when Kevin Walls really did hit behind the neck and the driver was out of control.
A couple of changes now for these two teams. One of them is Richard Madison, who's come in. The Memphis Northside won the slam dunk contest here this week.
Master blaster, at least for this year, he's the Ayatollah of Slamola. Crowd really did enjoy that.
That's a great hotbed down there in Memphis, and Madison did a great job for Marion Brugger's Cougars.
That's tough.
Yep.
Marion Brugger's Cougars.
Marion Brewer's Cougars. Always get it right on the fourth time.
Easy for you to say. Just that I had diction lessons with Elmer Fudd. This is a piece of cake.
68-64, 4-point lead of the West. Kevin Walls hasn't been the scoring machine here tonight so far. Fire is on the move, and keeping alive Beazer.
A little shorter than Lancaster Gordon, but he's got a much better shot and an excellent chance to move right into the Cardinal starting lineup with his old high school teammate, Milt Wagner.
Well, the guard matchups have been really something here, and there was one of them. Gary Grant and Kevin Walsh. Here's a steal by Daviner. Quick hands. Daviner's going to add to the Kentucky division next year. Daviner all the way. Rebound. He just takes it up strong in the crowd and draws the foul. It'll be on McMillan. 4 on him.
You know, Daviner's one of those players that's very confident. He wants to take and will make the big shot. Here they come in transition now. Ooh, what now? Here's, watch Stevius now. He knows exactly what to do with it. He doesn't want to put it on the floor. It's too crowded to pass. When in doubt, take it to the orange.
Derek Chivas, very tough kid, and he writes for his high school newspaper. Also works in the Big Brother program. Remember the debating team? He's really an all-around young guy. Most valuable player for the South team last week in the Derby Classic with 27 points, and here's his 12th point tonight. So he's leading the East team scoring 68-66. The East fought back within 2. Beazard, oh, nice job by Beazard, and won't fall. Tough break. Outlet pass broken up. A grab by Charlie Smith. Here comes the big guy Smith on the run. Rebound McMillan. No lack of talent on either one of these teams. A good break, McMillan. Fires it to Grant. A beautiful pass by McMillan.
Boy, he's been very impressive in the second half.
West
6'6" through guard.
Yep, 4-point lead to the West.
Lute Olson's going to be glad to see him.
Smith just turns around. Good job by Beasley to get a hand up, and Grant's got it to the West. Gary Grant, look at that lob pass, just hit his man perfectly. And McClellan's fouled over there again by I think Daviner hasn't wasted any fouls, has he?
No, he leaves divots.
No cheapies by him. There's Jerry Tarkanian from Nevada, Las Vegas. He has high hopes of one John Williams, who's been most impressive here tonight.
Lute Olson's going to be a force in this Pac-10. Some coaching changes in the conference. Of course, Farmer is out, and Walt Hazard, the former Overbrook star who led UCLA to a national championship, John Wooden's first in 1964, back at the helm. Spoke at the banquet the other night. UCLA making the most of this opportunity to host this classic. And it is a classic, and they've played up to that potential.
There goes Daviner off the dribble. Oh, he has been impressive. Daviner is beginning to steal a little of the thunder now from David Rivers with that second unit. 72-68, 4-point lead to the West. And back now, and here comes the East. They'll try to cut further in the lead. This is Chivas, a little bit too high for Daviner. They got it to 4 and then threw it away. The West gets the ball back, 6:49. They got 49 more seconds, these two units. Then under the rules of this game, they'll switch, and the two what were starting units come back on the floor.
That will be through this quarter, and then the coaches have their discretion. No legislation in the fourth quarter. Win the game.
McMillan outside. Haven't seen many of those. They've been trying to work it inside. East now can get back within 2 points. And Wills is going to let it go. Kevin Walls.
46 points a game. That's how he did it.
Yep.
Blinding speed, pull up, nail it.
In the state finals, he has 10 out of 11 in the semifinals. Here's Grant. Grant comes back for the West. He's got a chance to tie the score now if they can convert here, and this will come to the 6-minute mark. A second turnover. Each time Chivas was high with his passes. 6 minutes, 3 seconds to go.
He wants that ball checked. He thinks there's helium in it.
They're going to change the squads right here, and we'll get a timeout with 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And a close one we have. The West lead melted down to 2. So timeout with a score. The McDonald's All-America game. The West 72. The East 70.
You're going, you're moving, you got to keep moving. Can't hold you back, you got it, that you're on the go. On the go. Cause you know you got to show. You keep it moving, keep it grooving. You just can't take it slow. Together on the go. Quarter pounder, large fries. Icy Coke and apple pie. McDonald's and you.
Why do 5.5 million readers turn to Golf Digest magazine for instruction that works? Some of the best step-by-step lessons in print from playing editors like Nicholas, Watson, Pate, Irwin, Kite, Lopez, and from the entire teaching staff of Golf Digest's world-famous instruction schools, where golfers willingly pay $1,800 a week to become better golfers. If it's your objective to become a better golfer, call this toll-free number. To order a full year of Golf Digest 12 authoritative issues for just $9.97, almost half off the regular cover price. Order now, and you'll receive free Golf Digest 20 Ways to Hit It Farther. 48 pages packed with tips from the pros to help give you more distance off the tee.
to raise the level of your game and lower your handicap. Let Golf Digest make this your year in golf.
Call toll-free 800-372-3000. 800-372-3000. Wednesday, take a ride on the wild side with more drama from Darlington. Auto Racing 84 sets the pace at NASCAR's Trans-South 500. Next, for the total sports fan, it's a trip to Japan. Numero Uno visits the Orient for a look at the time-honored tradition of sumo wrestling. SportsCenter wraps up your day with a look at the play in the NBA. Our teams in the know with all the win, place, and show. It's a Total Sports Wednesday on ESPN.
Well, now the original starting units are in there for the East. It'll be Dwayne Farrell and Derek Lewis at the forwards, Chris Washburn at center, Michael Brown and David Rivers at the guards, and for the West, Danny Manning will be at center, John Williams and Al Lorenzen at the forwards, the guards, Delray Brooks and Troy Lewis, the dandy pair from Indiana, in the backcourt.
1 point should be made, Jim Thacker, I think, and that is the players in this game have to predict by NCAA standards, which is a very important factor. There are a lot of good players out there who forgot to go to class. These are truly student athletes, and that's a requisite that McDonald's puts on the game.
Now David Rivers back in the game, being picked up by Delray Brooks. Remember the show they had the first half here. Just outstanding. 2-point lead of the West. The East can tie the score.
The speed of Rivers was bothersome for Delray Brooks. Rivers was able to penetrate.
Now Washington takes the ball and little out of his range. Delray Brooks has got it for the West team. Here comes Brooks, and he's blocked and fouled by Rivers. That's an interesting show on both ends of the court. They each expected to play major roles for their colleges coming up in their careers. Delray Brooks for Indiana, David Rivers for Notre Dame. Leading scorer in the game, John Williams, got 14 points, all in the first half. He has not played yet in the second half. He'll come off the bench. Oh, they set it off. Nice pass by Lewis inside, and a block underneath by Shelton Jones. A good dump off by Lewis hit Manning.
We're talking good passing here, and it's all done away because Shelton Jones, headed for the red man, comes across on the weak side, times it beautifully.
Foul will be on Jones, his first this half.
I didn't see that foul, did you?
Manning goes to the line. I saw the block. Manning was MVP of the Capital Classic, and he's going to be an MVP of a lot of things before he's finished with Larry Brown out at Kansas University. He's the same type player as Magic Johnson. That tells you. He's 6'10", he can run the court.
A point guard locked in a 6'10" body.
David Rivers has been a magician handling the ball and setting up the play. 3-point lead of the West. Outside Michael Brown from Dunbar, over and back. It'll go out of bounds to the east.
Michael Brown is a good shooter, but he has that flat trajectory. It's very firm.
Full court pressure, and they just get it into Mr. Manning, and Manning up over the middle line to Jackson. Back to Manning. Behind his back to Lorenzen. And here it is to Manning. Well, not dropped. Well, that's some nifty ball handling, though.
Manning did not follow his shot. He was so confident, he just fired and fell back.
Rivers checked that time on his penetration by Delray Brooks. 73-70. West leads by 3. West is in the white. The East here attacking in the blue. Good feed to Jones. And the Amityville Horror comes through. Shelton Jones scores his 10th point.
Superb pass. Both teams passing well.
Delray Brooks cut off the fire. Brooks hits for his 6th point. And back comes Rivers the other side. Rivers not to be outdone. Gets his 8th point of the game. 75-74, the West by a point.
And I mean, the shooter is having his tonsils checked every time. There hasn't been many easy shots.
Look out for this one. And a good follow by Manning. Manning sticks it back in for the West. 9 points now for Danny Manning. 3-point lead for the West All-American. They must play man-to-man defense. Zone is not legal. Burrell with a fall away. Manning with a rebound. Look at Manning come out of there. Behind his back, and he hits Colonel Troy Lewis on the break.
I didn't hear Sweet Georgia Brown, but I thought it.
Lawrence, Kansas, here he comes.
Unbelievable.
He played for the Lawrence High School Lions this year. They were 22-2, but a year ago, He was playing for Greensboro, North Carolina Page, and they were number 2 in the nation. Now, Delray Brooks almost strips it away from Rivers. Farrell, nice fake. Gets a good screen from Washburn. Farrell puts it away. It's an 11th point. 79-76. The West is holding on the lead here despite those challenges by the East. The lead now by 3. Delray Brooks penetrating inside, hitting. Brooks beginning to cut loose a little bit now.
Well, Brooks and Rivers are a little bit locked in an ego battle out here, and Brooks is forcing that drive, I think, a little bit. I think he feels like the speed of Rivers has embarrassed him a little bit. I think he's probably forcing his offense more than he has all year. Like gunfighters out there.
Michael Brown, they try to get a backdoor with Farrell. Here goes Rivers off the dribble, cutting around the right hand. David Rivers. I think you're right, Bucky. It's a challenge now between Brooks and Rivers.
They are playing, can you top this?
81-78, 3-point lead with the West. Delray Brooks headed for the Olympic trials. Oh, what a pass to Lorenzen. Wasn't that a beautiful pass? And goaltending is going to be called on Washburn. Lorenzen gets credit for his 4th point on a nifty pass from Delray Brooks. 81-78. McDonald's, of course, a major sponsor of the 23rd Olympic Games this summer here in L.A. And they built the McDonald's Olympic Swim Stadium here in Southern California as part of that program. Rivers beats Brooks. Just beat him. David Rivers went right by Delray Brooks. 83-80. 3-point lead of the West. Here comes John Williams in there now. Tipped in inside. I think they're going to give it to Jackson. First score by Craig Jackson. Brown off the dribble. No. Rebound down. Here comes Williams. Got a man open, and it is Troy Lewis. Missed the slam dunk, but he was fouled by Michael Brown. Watch Troy Lewis.
John Williams passing off the dribble at 6'8", 225, puts it right on the money. Derek Lewis checks the traffic pattern, thinks he's got enough room. Dale Brown does not wipe him out, but holds him up.
You know, Bucky, Troy Lewis has scored double figures in every high school game he's played since he was a sophomore. Set the high school record as a junior, 869 points at Anderson, Indiana, and they've had some great teams. Troy Lewis.
Sharing the Mr. Basketball title with Delray Brooks. Only the 3rd time in the storied tradition of that state of basketball and the honor of Mr. Basketball.
That rivalry is going to continue the next 4 years. Oh, nice move by Jones. Shelton Jones reversed his court and got an open layup. 87-82, the West by 5. He's trying to press.
I'm sure there's some eyes get big in the Big East. I don't think anybody realized just how good he was. At least the word around the trials were not that he's not going to be that impressive.
Wow, there he went again. Sheldon Jones made that block. And a steal by Troy Lewis, and he walked. Intimidated by Derek Lewis. The two Lewises meet head-to-head, and Derek comes away the psychological winner.
Well, Derek Lewis a little bit tougher inside, and he was out of his environment because he was in there with a fine rejector, and he could have been wearing that ball permanently.
Michael Brown. Oh, nice rebound and a good release. Here comes Delray Brooks. Brooks had a steal from the rear. No, Delray Brooks has got it back up and in. 10 points now for Delray Brooks. 89-82, 7-point lead of the West. Rivers not to be outdone. Rebound off by John Williams. The guards are going to have to let the other guys get in there. Here's a lead pass to Troy Lewis, and down there is Williams. And let's see what's going to happen. I think Rivers went out of there.
Well, as a fallout of this one-on-one duel by the point guards, Delray Brooks and David Rivers, both are penetrating, and there's no defensive balance. Consequently, when the big men rebound, they're just throwing the long outlet pass, and there's nobody back.
As a good steal by Dwayne Farrell. Dwayne Farrell, his college coach-to-be, Bobby Crimmins, is sitting here in the stands behind us, watching this young man from Baltimore, Calvin Hall play. Delray Brooks takes on Rivers again and scores. Delray Brooks and Rivers putting on a little sideshow. 15 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
Brooks going up over the top of Rivers to score now.
7-point lead for the West. He's trying to get back at least 5, and they go to Sheldon Jones, who's having a good second half, and he's fouled by John Williams. Number 2 on Honduras, John Williams of Los Angeles Crenshaw. They were beaten by Long Beach Poly. That's Chris Sanders' team here in the tournament. But in that game, John Williams scored 30 points for Woody West team.
He averaged 29 during the regular season, 38 in the playoffs. Those are the players that you're looking for.
Now Sheldon Jones from Amityville, and of course he is the Amityville Hog, right?
That's a heck of a tag. He's just like a pretty nice kid.
Well, he wears it with pride. Played for Fred Williams. They were 21-3. Not a bad year. Back it comes to Sheldon Jones, who slams it in for an unusual three-point play. 15 points for Jones, and the West lead is cut suddenly by 4. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. The West 91, the East 87 in the McDonald's All-America game.
$1 million. That's a lot of money. $1 million in protection for every member of your family. But now you can have it with Mutual of Omaha's $1 million catastrophic health care plan. Now, here's affordable protection you can count on, no matter how high the bills go. Money for hospital and doctor bills, money paid in and out of the hospital, money paid in addition to any other coverage you have up to $1 million. Now, do you really need $1 million worth of health insurance? Well, ask Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Brady of Ogden, Utah. Mutual of Omaha has paid more than $100,000 in medical bills for their son, Nicholas. He still needs help, and we're still paying. Ask any of the thousands of policy owners who have collected $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, and more. You know, these days you really do need $1 million worth of protection, and now you can get it from the world's largest individual and family health insurance company, Mutual of Omaha. Founded in 1909, Mutual of Omaha today is protecting millions of Americans, paying more than $1 billion a year in benefits. Nearly 1 million Americans have responded to our national ad. And now you can get more information about the Mutual of Omaha plan that can pay you up to $1 million in protection for every insured member of your family. Call this toll-free number right now. Call now and you'll also get this free booklet, How to Stretch Your Health Care Dollars. The booklet and information are yours free with no obligation. To get both, call toll-free right now. The number is 800-544-1000. That's 800-544-1000. 800-544-1000.
Well, as fine a collection of high school talent as you'll see in this year of 1984, the McDonald's All-America game being played here at Pauley Pavilion in Los Angeles. I'm Jim Thacker with Bucky Waters, and Bucky will get the new units in there, so we got to wait for that Delray Brooks and David Rivers duo to start a little late, although they're going to start, aren't they? Going to start that unit. So they keep the number 1 unit in there to start the fourth quarter.
I'm sure both coaches told them, let's think a little bit more team. Let's cut down on the penetrations, and let's get some defensive balance. No easy baskets here in the fourth quarter.
John Williams fires it home, and he's fouled. Boy, Williams, a spectacular performance, foul by Chris Washburn. And Williams is stealing the thunder, the bigger advertised player.
Watch the muscle here, under control, squaring his shoulders in flight, over the top, and soft.
And that's 16 points for Mr. Williams, who came out of the same high school that produced Marcus Johnson. We're talking about Crenshaw High School right here in Los Angeles. Chance for a three-point play, and he'll be going for 17. You know, he can play it all, can he? Point guard, perimeter, either forward spot, probably could play center for this Hulk. 94-87. It's the second biggest lead of the West, 7 points. They got a man on the floor. Rebound is stolen by the West. Here comes Grant. Grant off the break, and he hits the pure shooter, Lewis. Boy, Lewis just went right off the glass with that one. 16 points. 9-point lead. That's the biggest of the West team. 96-87. Chris Washburn has to come outside to get a shot. The rebound is by Grant, the little guy. He's got a man open, and it is Williams, but it's knocked down by Washburn. Williams gets it back. Williams drops it off for Troy Lewis. Back to Williams. Layup. Nope. Tips. Williams again. Up again by Manning. Up by Delray Brooks. And finally, Brooks gets his 14th point, 98-87. The West now beginning to move away a little bit.
Dominating that offensive board.
Boy, Rivers and Brooks still matched up. Remember, they don't have to go with the unit system here in the fourth period. They can play to win. Charles Smith got it partially blocked. John Williams has got it for the West. West drops it off to Troy Lewis for the layup. Well, the Indiana pair is really clicking. Troy Lewis and Delray Brooks. Between them, they've got 32 points.
Passing here, John Williams giving up. Delray Brooks under control. I'm sorry, it's Lewis. Derek Lewis going up under control. That time he didn't use the board. From 18 feet, he did.
That's 18 points for Troy Lewis of Anderson as we get time out with 10.5 to go. The West an even 100, the East 87.
Ease into morning with McDonald's.
Break it to me gently. I like my mornings easy and slow. Pour me some sunshine. Open my eyes with a welcome smile before I go. Break it to me gently. I've got hard work to do. Get a roll. McDonald's and you.
If you missed SportsCenter last week, you missed David Sullivan's coverage of the Boston Marathon. Jeff Smith of Great Britain was the men's winner, while New Zealander Lorraine Muller won the women's division. And you missed Sharon Smith's report on the Wood Memorial, won by Leroy S., making another 3-year-old horse a possible pick for the upcoming Kentucky Derby. And you missed our continuing coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where the New York Islanders kept their drive for 5 alive. They'll meet the Canadiens, while the Oilers will meet the North Stars in the conference finals. SportsCenter, don't miss it.
Now the East has fallen behind by 13 points, the biggest margin. They'll try to get something going. Rivers the point guard. Second guard is Walls, the big score. Here he is, the left-hander. Kevin Walls was into the crowd. Good foul on the inside by Thompson. Clear out to Delray Brooks. Up the middle of Williams, and he'll take it all away. What a game he's having. That's 19 points for John Williams.
Plus 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 skyjacks.
Rebound out of there is Manning. Manning fires down for the Delray Brooks. Behind his back to Troy Lewis, and he let him a little bit too much. You know, Bucky, could be an intriguing story developing here because John Williams, who said all along he will not go to UCLA, right now, good chance to be the star of this game. If he wins the John Wooden Award, you think he might change his mind?
I don't know. It's a lot of pressure. The East still struggling to get over that with 54% in the second half, showing a marked increase, and they're trailing by 15.
102-87, 15-point lead for the West. And here goes Washburn in action. Chris Washburn suddenly comes to life. He did not score in the third period.
Oh, he had to change that shot, too. Manning was looking right down his throat. He had to put that ball up so high it had ice on it.
John Williams gets fake inside. Williams again. Williams gradually becoming the standout of this game. 21 points for a 6'8" powerful player from Crenshaw High in Los Angeles. 104-89, another 15-point lead. Chris Washburn takes it right inside on Williams and draws the foul. Only the third foul on Williams. You get 6 in this game.
You want to know where the beef is? Here's the beef. Watch this. Oh, bam. Crenshaw versus Williams. Both of those guys have muscles in places most people don't have places.
Chris Washburn will draw 2 here. He said he was discovered when he hit a windmill dunk when he was in the 8th grade.
I wonder how big he was in the 8th grade. Probably
big enough to dunk.
That's for sure.
Danny Manning has it for the West. Manning coming in between his legs to Lewis. And here's Delray Brooks is open. Delray Brooks now with 16 points. And Troy Lewis with 18. 34 between the two Hoosier hotshots. 106-90. Ball stolen by Grant. A little too fancy by Rivers. Grant's going to try to draw the three-point play. Boy, did he protect that ball, Bucky Weller.
That's a great point, Jim. He knew there was footsteps. He wasn't going to be denied. There was no one to pass it to. He kept the pressure on and protected it well.
Here's Washburn rolling again from the high post, and they have one tip inside, put up by Lewis. Derek Lewis, that is, and he's fouled by Danny Manning, and that's 5 fouls on Manning. We're playing normal. He's out, but he's got one more to go.
One of the few times the East team has been effective on that offensive board. Derek Lewis going back up, a quick jumper in his own right. Danny Manning not happy with that call.
Everyone knows Derek Lewis from Carroll High School in Washington is going to stay right at home and play for Lefty Driesell at the University of Maryland.
As I said, the East has not been much of a factor on the board. That was one of the few times they got 2 cracks in an offensive rebound. Yeah, this young man's going to bring smiles to the old left-hander's face there at College Park. He likes this kind of player.
Joins a pretty good team, too, doesn't he? Adrian Branch and young guy named Gatlin who played in this game last year, so did Branch earlier. Here's Grant off the dribble. Boy, the West has really had a hot hand here in the second half. 12 points for Gary Grant of Canton McKinley High School in Ohio. 110 to 92. 18-point lead. That match is the biggest they've had. Inside that, they're going to Washburn, and is stripped away by Troy Lewis.
There's no room in the end down there. Not only are the players so big, but that collapsing defense.
Now here goes Gary Grant off the dribble. Rebound, Derek Lewis stolen away inside by Delray Brooks, and then tapped in on the weak side. John Williams again. 23 points for Williams.
Boy, what an irony. A man comes into the home court, Pauley Pavilion of UCLA, says he won't go to school here and is about to break our record.
Well, he's going to break the hearts even further, isn't he?
Yeah, that's like rubbing salt in it.
There are a couple of changes. Derek Chivas comes in for the East. Craig McMillan reports in for the West, replacing Troy Lewis. So McMillan joins Delray Brooks now in backcourt for the West team. And Chivas is in here at one of the forward spots for the East. Spinning shot by Daviner, partially blocked by Delray Brooks. Out of there's McMillan.
Good defense by Brooks.
Oh, great pass inside to Grant. He gave it to him at exactly the right time. 14 points for Gary Grant.
Craig McMillan continues to impress. He's a legit 6'6" guard.
22-point lead. Remember a year ago, Bucky, the East was running away and the West came fighting back. You think the East could do it this time? That was Chivas.
I think this game generally was better played than last year's. It's just an extraordinary offensive explosion here by the West. And the East is going to have to scramble.
Well, missed a chance there. A loose ball picked up by Gary Grant of the West. McMillan's fake. McMillan shows great quickness there. And Washburn comes out with a loose ball. Yep, and look at him. Give it to Daviner. It'll be an easy 2 points. Daviner now has picked up 12 points. 8 of them here in the second half. 114-96. Still got a long way to go, though, down by 18.
There's no shot clock, and they don't need one.
Lorenzen off. Beautiful take by Lorenzen, then blew the shot. Here comes Daviner for the East. Daviner spots an opening, and rebound by McMillan. Williams gives it to Grant. Watch it go back to Williams. 25 points for John Williams, who's moving closer and closer to becoming the MVP of this game. Here's Brown, Michael Brown. That's his first basket, and he averaged 19 on the year. 116 to 98. Lead is back to 18 points. John Thompson checks back in for the East, replacing Chris Washburn. Sandel comes in for the West. We got a timeout. 6 minutes to go in the ball game from Los Angeles. The McDonald All-American West Stars 116, the East 98.
Most tennis camps for adults are just vacations. You just happen to play a little tennis. I'm Nick Bollettieri. Are you serious about your game? I can help you. Aaron Krickstein, Jimmy Arias, Carling Bassett, I've helped them. I can help you. But within your style of play as I help them. Our facilities, second to none, include an indoor center. That's right, an indoor center with 46 additional courts, hard and soft, Nautilus, aerobic rooms, jacuzzis, saunas, a pool, dining rooms. You name it, we have it. And coaches, we have a program for you also. you can benefit from the children, from the adults, because you are responsible for them when they come back home. Be part of our program. And if you're serious about all of this, which you should be serious, I want you to call 1-800-544-1000. And remember, you'll look better, feel better, and play better when you go back home.
In sports, timing is everything. And the same goes for watching sports. If your timing is a little off, you could miss the action. No one knows that better than ESPN. That's why we offer our monthly programming guide. In the ESPN Sports Guide, you'll find listings of every fast-paced, spine-tingling, hard-hitting event, from the kick of karate to the rush of car racing. Whatever action you like best, ESPN has it, and the Sports Guide has it too, for less than 43 cents an issue. So why play hit or miss with your favorite events? For just $4.95, you can guarantee yourself a seat at all your favorite games. That's $4.95 for your 12-month subscription to Sports Guide. So call 1-800-544-1000 to order, or send your check or money order to ESPN Sports Guide, Box 1840, Bristol, Connecticut 06010. Act now. After all, timing is everything, and now is the time to order your ESPN Sports Guide.
We're back now. The East getting into dire straits with 6 minutes to go. They trail by 18. They've come out with a little bit smaller lineup. They put Chris Washburn, the 6'11" center, on the bench, and they come in with John Thompson, a 6'7" forward. They're playing with 3 forwards. Here's Michael Brown, who's paired with Ed Daviner at guard. Long one by Brown. Rebound picked up on the west by McMillan. McMillan's looked pretty good here. I think Lute Olson's got a find for himself out there at University of Arizona. What a pass into Lorenzen, a head fake, but Thompson stayed right with him, and Thompson draws the foul.
Cary Grant continues to impress, too. He's shown us the outside shot. He's an unselfish player, and the thing I like about his passes is they're soft. He puts it, not only hits them in the hands, but he puts them in there with a speed that's easy to handle and make a move with them.
Michael Brown and Edward Gallagher.
There's John Williams. Look at that. We told you 25 points, but look at the 15 rebounds. And he's had a couple of assists here, I believe.
He's had 5 assists.
Lorenzen. Lorenzen's going to help Iowa. He's going to have to work on his defense a little bit, perhaps. But he's a strong fellow and a good leader.
Picky. 5 assists, 15 boards, and 25 points to Durite. Right now, he's a big play defensive player. He's going to have to learn to play it more sustained.
Now, that was intended to be a pass. There goes Rivers, dealing off to Madison, and let's see the Master Blaster go to work. And it's intercepted. And here's Mr. Williams going to work. Spinning. Put up by Grant. Grant on the foul. Williams tried to do a 360 pirouette and almost pulled it off. 119-98, West.
Folks along the West Coast thought that was another trimmer.
Kevin Walls, that's what he did up in Camden, New Jersey. Now down comes Gary Grant, lead pass. Oh, what a pass that was to McMillan. Can you believe that? Landing perfectly, and McMillan laid it in. 121-98. Nobody's going to catch the West tonight.
Nope. They have been awesome in the second half.
Rivers for the East. Boy, up in a backstretch goes Sandel for the West team. Now, if you're playing a game along by here, the West will slow it down, but this is not a game. This is fun. That's Williams again. 27 points for John Williams.
Bob Wade's going to call a timeout here and make one last effort to regroup his team to make a comeback, but it's not going to be possible.
Well, his team's down by 25 points. It's the biggest margin of the night. Looking at this team, Bucky, of course, John Williams has had a very, very big role, but where else do you pick out the West being so dominant in this game?
Well, again, the bench, they got great play from everyone. They just didn't have any soft spots to come in. The balance was superb.
3 great guards.
Yes, indeed, and they were unselfish guards. Delray Brooks, although he was embarrassed a time or two by the speed of Rivers, got his head back together, made the jump shots, and fed inside beautifully.
Gary Grant and Troy Lewis, the other 3, those 3 in backcourt have been outstanding for the West. And Williams has had a spectacular game. Manning really hasn't gotten into the explosiveness that he has, but he's made some great plays. Great passes.
Well, you hear somebody say, well, the guy's 6'11", and honestly, he can play point guard. And you kind of say, sure, he can. But Danny Manning is just an extraordinary talent, and the key to greatness for him will be the development of upper body strength, because these are still high school kids, even though we've got some good specimens out there. But he's headed for that Big 8 conference, and Norm Stewart and some folks that'll hair lip you and make you prove it. So he needs to spend some time in the weight room, but he's a marvelous talent.
123.98 going to Kansas University with Larry Brown. And he'll be playing under his dad, Ed Manning, who's an assistant at Kansas.
And he'll be looking at folks like Tisdale, so they can tattoo you.
Here comes Williams again. John Williams. He wants to take it right in there. Kept up inside by Sandel. Now remember, Sandel's team beat Williams in the high school playoffs, and that time he had to follow for Williams to put it in. Madison out of bounds. And the West will get it. West leading by 27 now, the biggest lead. Andrew Lane comes back to the West. John Williams goes out. Listen to the half for John Williams of Los Angeles Crenshaw. 27 points. And right now appear to be a strong candidate for the John Wooden Award of this game.
Well, I'd say so. If he doesn't get it, there ought to be an investigation. He's been awesome.
He's got a long way to try to see what ground they can pick up here in the last 3.5 minutes. Traded by 27. That's Rivers. Just following inside by Chivas. And Rivers won't give up. Rivers off the floor, feeds to Chivas again. That'll get 2 of them back.
The Jersey guards are tough on ground. You notice that when the ball's on the floor, Walton Rivers have come up with it. I'm telling you, those guys are tough in Jersey.
John Williams' 27-point production right now is the second highest of all time, second to Michael Jordan, who had 30. 125 to 100. You know, Williams gets back in there, he might break Jordan's record.
The other thing we have to point out again is that with this unit system and the balance of time, it was much more equalized than it's been in a lot of games. So he probably, John Williams probably didn't have as many minutes, so I don't think there's any way to document that.
125 to 100. Lang. There's Sandel. He shoots that ball going up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. It's a funny shot.
Rivers behind his back, and there's Beezer. That's the funny thing that happened on that fast break. Sandel powerfully into the reverse play. Well, it's time for the other California kid to have a little bit of the show.
Sandel was expecting a skyjack attempt on his side of the board, so he ducked his head under the net, tried to use the rim. Beautiful move.
Lead is 27 points. And Jones just threw it away. 4 changes in. Jackson comes in for the West. Brown and Daviner return for the East. So that's a switch of the guards. The Rivers and Walls combination didn't click that time.
Sort of a dream backcourt. I'm sure many coaches were anxious to see those two paired up in the back. I think, unfortunately, when it came to pass at this juncture of the game, it was really out of hand, and it's really degenerated into the blue team trying to get it up there too quickly, and the white team, which is the West, taking advantage of it and just running it down their throat.
Bucky, let's mention that 500 senior players were nominated by a committee of high school coaches all across the country, representing every area. Now let's mention some of the people responsible for getting down to the cream of the crop, starting with Morgan Wooten from DeMatha Academy in Hyattsville, Maryland, who heads the selection committee.
Well, of course, Morgan's career is extraordinary in its own right, and as John Wooden pointed out, he got interested in this event because John Wooden got interested in it because Morgan Wooten was so deeply involved. But Dave Bones and Frank Burleson, Bill Cronauer, Howard Garfinkel, we've mentioned, Bob Gagan, who runs the show here as executive director of this thing, a superb job. Sonny Hill. Also, Sonny Hill put on a clinic, which I thought was a terrific experience in that he had people there talking to these young men about life after basketball. People like Dr. Ernie Vanderway and Cassie Russell. And I think that's a very smart thing because no matter how good they are, eventually it's going to end.
There's Beezer with a good aggressive play to get back the ball. And here goes Sandel again, the second chance. And Michael Brown has it for the East. 127 to 100, the West leading. Some good riders took place there. Joe Mitch, Dave Kreider, Ken Mink. They participated also.
Doug Huff, Robert Gibbons. It's a team effort.
Yeah, that shoots out of there, and the West is going to get it, leading by 27 points, 2 minutes and 4 seconds to go.
The crop this year, Jim, was so good that they claimed there were 15 other players that were just inches away from being in this game, that there really was a quality year in terms of high school talent.
Well, there's going to be some great players coming out next year. Kevin Madden, who's already signed out of Stanton, Virginia, North Carolina. Tito Herford from down in Houston. They say he may be the best center in the country right now.
They never stop. They just keep coming.
Yep. Inside McClendon. Roger McClendon from Champaign, Illinois, but he's not going to play for the Illini. He'll be playing for the Cincinnati Bearcats of Tony Yates. Down the middle goes Daviner, and he really hammered in there by Lang. Third foul on Lang. Big guy's going to be a great addition for Eddie Sutton at Arkansas. Played for the Cardinals of Pine Bluff Senior High, Dollaway.
Arkansas plays some games in Pine Bluff. In fact, that's where they beat North Carolina when the Tar Heels were undefeated and #1.
That's very true. Best shooter in New York City, they say about this young man. Good follow by Washburn, and he's hammered and fouled. Washburn fouled on the play by Lang.
John Williams is second in the all-time McDonald's All-American game. There's Coach Wooden.
And Morgan Wooten on the right. They're going to be enjoying this game with this great talent.
John Wooden was College Player of the Year in 1932 at Purdue. He's in the Hall of Fame as a player and as a coach.
They say Chris Washburn likes McDonald's so much he starts off with 2 Big Macs, a double cheeseburger, fries, a large soda, 2 apple pies. That's before the game. Then after he plays, he really gets it.
I guarantee you, Jim Valvano will have a sign on all the fast food places around Raleigh saying, "Don't feed this man."
Well, he can eat it McDonald's. Here comes Sandel. Loose ball, he's got it. This is Daviner. Great speed, Daviner. Reverse layup and followed by Brown with a foul by McClendon.
Well, I thought he was flying, and it looked when he needed it, he hit the afterburn. He was really in cruise, setting it up.
Both teams in triple figures now, 129 to 102. West is going to win handily. 27-point lead.
And the defensive coordinator for both teams has been fired, right?
Right.
You look at some of the players out here, they could well have been an NFL camp.
The human scoring machine. Ed Daviner, just to both that time, and Matt Beazer got it for the West.
I tried to make a point on John Williams. He's second in scoring and rebounding all time in this classic. If he gets back in the game, he may have an opportunity to break those records.
The guards are really releasing now, trying to get the easy points. That ball's lost out of bounds, and we'll go back to the West. This series started in Philadelphia in 1978. It's been played in Charlotte, Oakland, Wichita, Chicago, last year Atlanta. They raised over $250,000 for the Ronald McDonald House. It's been a great, worthy cause. Sandel denied the baseline by Smith. Now Lang has his range, and Chris Washburn just pulls it down like a center fielder. Washburn to Brown. Michael Brown bombs one in from Dunbar Poits, and his head coach, Robert Wade, the coach of this game.
That's a line drive shot that we talked about. If he goes to Syracuse and pairs with Earl Washington, that'd be some physical backcourt, a ball handler and a shooter, both with bodies like heavyweight champs.
129-104. East will try to make this respectable. Big pass. Washburn caught the air there. I got 3 West players down here. Here's Sandel. Little reverse dunk by Chris Sandel. 8 points for him. Very quick, explosive player this guy is. He just played the shadow tonight of John Williams. Brown lets it rip. West has got it. Here comes McClendon. 8 seconds to go. This may be the last score. That was a foul. They got away with it. This Brown has got 1 second to shoot. Yep, he got it away, and it'll count. Michael Brown. That makes the final 131-106. Awesome performance here with the West Stars, coached by Bill Bobier of Valley High School in Las Vegas, Nevada, wrapping up another McDonald's Hall of America game. We'll be right back here with more about the game. The final score, the West 131, the East 106.
This ESPN event.
Action Television